Hi everyone, welcome in. This behind me is my entire book collection. I read over 150 books last year, but I only own 2 shelves of books on a classic IKEA Billy bookshelf. So why do I do that to myself as someone who obviously loves reading? Why do I only have these 2 shelves of books? I just want to welcome you in. We're going to chat about it today. And before we kick off with a little tour of these 2 shelves, I just want to say I know that this approach does not work for everyone. I think there is zero shame whatsoever in owning as many books as you want, keeping every book you've ever read, buying books that you haven't read yet, you don't know when you're going to get to them, buying books that you have no intention of ever reading. I think all of those things are completely fine. I'm just sharing today the system that has worked for me and why. So if you're looking for a slightly more pared down bookshelf experience, something a little different than what I tend to see here on BookTube and on social media, then come along for a little tour. So lay of the land here, up top, way up here, that shelf is actually my husband's books. And then down below here are our board games, the memorabilia, stuff like that. So we're really just talking about this shelf and this shelf. And I've got my books split up into 2 different categories here. This shelf up top are books that I'm keeping long term. And then this shelf here is my unread physical TBR shelf. So these are the books that I've purchased but have not yet read. So I'm going to start this little tour up here on the books that I'm keeping that I've loved. You'll see it's very few books, and admittedly I do read a lot of audiobooks and ebooks, and so I don't have a physical copy of those anyways, even if I love them. But I still tend to not keep most books I read physically either. Unless it like speaks to me on a soul deep level, or I think that I might actually legitimately reread it in the next couple of years, I would rather just pass it along to someone else who's going to read it now or soon, or who would like to own a copy of it. So pass things along to friends and family, to coworkers, donate to our Friends of the Library nonprofit that sells those books then to make money for our library. If it's a really good copy that's like basically brand new, like if I get the book brand new, which is pretty rare for me, but it does happen sometimes. If I get a brand new book, I read it and I've only used it once and it's really lightly used, I will sometimes sell it to an independent used bookseller here where I live. So I'd rather just get it off my shelf and pass it along to someone who's going to truly love it, rather than have it sit here and languish, because I'm not really a rereader. So it's probably not going to really like do anything for me by sitting there. I will sometimes, like I said, I read audiobooks and ebooks quite a bit, or I get books from the library a lot, physical books. If I loved a book and I want it on my shelf, I will often actually use that as an opportunity to go support an independent bookstore in my area and purchase a copy of that book from that seller. When I'm buying books to read, so kind of blending the shelves here for a second, when I'm buying books to read, you'll notice like a lot of these are used, secondhand, super cheap, from the Friends of the Library sale often, or from independent used booksellers in my town. So I'm like looking for a deal when it's a book I haven't read yet, because I feel less sure about if it's worth the investment to pay for a full price brand new book. But where I can do my part and support my local businesses and my local independent bookstores is by, once I know I love a book, purchasing a really beautiful brand new copy of whatever exact edition I want of that book. Before I fully move on to this TBR shelf, just a note, this Chronicles of Narnia is maybe the only one that doesn't technically belong up there. I did read the Chronicles of Narnia as a kid. I haven't read it in years, but I saw this like consolidated copy of it at my Friends of the Library book sale, and I bought it. It's up on that top shelf right now just because I don't necessarily think I'm going to get to it like anytime super, super soon, but I really liked the condensed copy. It's probably a story I'm going to want to read with my kids as they get older. So it's up there right now. It probably technically belongs down here because I don't remember it at all, honestly. So moving on here then to this bottom shelf. You'll see, it's very full. It's very full. I've got books on top all the way across. This is not ideal to me. This stresses me out a bit, honestly. I don't really like having a lot of physical books sitting on a shelf. It feels like they're staring me down, making me feel bad when I get a book from the library or when I read yet another audiobook instead of picking one of these up. I just don't really love a physical reminder of like a list of books that I'm hoping to get to, but who knows when. It's just not my thing. I do like to track a TBR in general, like all books that I'm interested in reading on, I use the Story Graph. It's kind of like Goodreads, but not owned by Amazon. So I like that. I like the digital version because it doesn't feel so mentally cluttered, and I can like filter the lists by season or author or whatever really, really easily. This overwhelms me a bit. My ideal would be that there's nothing stacked on top and that there's a little bit of breathing room here just in case I do come across a book I genuinely want to purchase when I'm like out in the wild, and I want to know I have space to place that nicely and calmly on my shelf and it can sit there and wait for the right moment. Right now, it feels pretty overloaded, and I do currently have a Book of the Month subscription going, which I love. I love their books. They're such good quality for such a good price for a really nice hardback book, and I love that they're all like the same shape and size. So I know I've got more Book of the Months coming like relatively regularly. I skip months every once in a while, but they're coming. And so then it feels like this sense of pressure to like clear space. And I know there's more bookshelf. I could literally just put it on the next shelf down, but I will legitimately lose track. I have such a short-term like memory for things that are not readily visible to me. And so, I do want to get this down to a little bit more of a manageable level, but I'm going to try to do it in a way that doesn't put so much pressure on myself. This is by far the most unread books that I've owned as an adult ever, I think. So I'm going to try, in January this year, I'll be putting up a video about it, but I'm going to try a TBR jar and we're just going to see how it goes. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fun and different, and it'll give me room. I tried to write my prompts. I already wrote them. I tried to write them in a way that is like open-ended enough that I'll still have a choice of book in here, no matter what the prompt is. So there will be at least a couple options I can pick from. I'm hoping that it'll inspire me, take away some of the analysis paralysis going on when I currently step up to the shelf. Right now, I just walk up, I stare at this huge overwhelming shelf, overwhelming for me, of unread books, and I just basically walk away. And I pick something else from the library or from an ebook or audiobook I have. So I'm hoping that that's going to help me kind of just like whittle away at this slowly. I'm not in a huge rush, but I want to feel like I'm making an effort here. Since I already purchased these books, clearly I bought them for a reason. I want to read them. They all sounded interesting to me at one time or another. And I actually recently did a sweep and took out 2 or 3 books that I was like, I'm just never going to read that. Passed them along to some friends and family. So I know that all of the ones here are ones I genuinely want to read. So hoping the TBR jar helps me do that. So that's it. There's all the books I own. The ones I'm keeping long-term up here because I love them, and positive vibes. Super, super inspiring to me to have this shelf be just things I totally love. And then this shelf, which again, feeling a little overwhelming right now, but I'm excited about them. I'm excited about these books. I'm excited to dive into my past selves purchases and see what I was inspired by at the time. So if this video resonated with you, or if you're just looking forward to seeing that TBR jar video when it comes out in January, please subscribe. I would love to have you stick around. My channel is all about mood reading, genre hopping, seasonal reading, not putting pressure on yourself to read, enjoying reading again as a form of self-expression, self-care, and reconnecting with your own dreamer in your head. So if that resonates, if that sounds good to you, Please subscribe, stick around, and thank you so much for being here today. I'll see you next time.